5:30. And so with that, it looks like it is generally time for our Fresno meeting to begin. So I would love to just take a moment to say welcome, everyone. We're so glad that you are here joining us in this space tonight, and really grateful that you chose to, of all of the places in the world to be, you are spending it here with us. So with that, welcome to our 63rd South Fresno Community Steering Committee meeting. My name is Bikela, as in rhymes with Nutella, and I'm joined tonight by my colleagues and co-facilitators, Liz and Amy from the Harder & Company, and we're from the Harder & Company facilitation team. Before we open it up for some welcome and introductions, would love to just take a few minutes to walk through our usual housekeeping slides. And so with that, Tanya, would you like to go over the instructions for us both in Spanish and in English for our CSC this evening?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. Buenas tardes a todos. Bienvenidos. Este es un recordatorio de que tenemos la interpretación simultánea disponible para esta reunión. Entonces, si ustedes desean escuchar la reunión en español e ingresaron con una computadora, van a ver el icono de un mundo en la parte de abajo de su menú de Zoom. Por favor, seleccionen el icono de interpretación y seleccionen español. También les invitamos a silenciar el audio original si solo quieren escuchar una voz a la vez. Si ustedes ingresaron utilizando un teléfono móvil o una tableta, sus opciones son un poquito diferentes. Necesitan tocar su pantalla. Van a buscar los tres puntitos con la opción de más o more, ya sea en la parte de arriba o abajo de su dispositivo. Seleccionen donde dice interpretación de idioma. Después seleccionen español. Nuevamente silenciar el audio original y por último el botón que diga done, listo o finalizado. Si necesitan ayuda, nos pueden dejar saber en el chat. Muchas gracias. Ahora voy a dar mis instrucciones en inglés. Hello, everyone. This is just a reminder that we have simultaneous interpretation for this meeting. So we do ask you to please select a channel. That way we can have the communication between Spanish and English. If you prefer to choose English and you're joining with a computer, you'll have a glove at the bottom of your Zoom menu. Please click on the glove and select English. If you're joining with a cell phone or a tablet, your options are a little different. You need to tap your screen. You need to find the three dots with the more options, either on top or at the bottom of your screen. Select a language interpretation, select English, and it's very important to select the button that says done. And if you have any questions or you need help, please let us know in the chat. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So with that, we'll just take a quick moment to kind of review these slides together in this space. And so, yes, we'd just love to take a moment. This may seem familiar, but we thank you for bearing with us. But yes, as a reminder, if you've been with us for a while, please make sure that you update your name, your screen name, to reflect the naming convention if you are a CSC member or resident. If you're a CSC member, please put CSC in front of your name, your full name. And if you are a resident and a CSC member, please put an R in front of your full name. This is an important reminder as it just helps us track attendance, especially for those participating in the stipend program. So with that, on this next slide, you will see all other participants. Please feel free to use the naming convention in which AD or CARB for Air District or California Air Resources Board staff, P for general public, and for any other organization. We would love to know where you're from, or where your organization is from and located. So please feel free to include your organization name. So with that, just a couple of brief reminders around ways we want to engage in this virtual setting. Just generally would love to encourage you to stay on mute or microphone off if you are, unless you're planning to speak. If you're participating by phone, that's *6. We encourage you to use the raise hand feature on Zoom during a presentation or to use the chat feature here in Zoom. And just a reminder for any residents participating in the stipend program, we encourage you to stay for at least 75% of the meeting, or about 90 minutes for our 2-hour meeting to be eligible for that stipend. And in addition to that, we would love to just take a moment to remind folks, because this list is a little bit more familiar, we won't go in detail through each one, but some of the major pieces would just love to highlight for our time is that we would love to help each other achieve our meeting goals by focusing on solutions, opportunities, and really seeking to center a productive dialogue in this space. And would love to just remind folks that we really want to hear from everyone, all of our CSC members. And so if you tend to find yourself finding it more easy or comfortable to chat during meetings, we encourage you to consider making space for others. And if you're someone who maybe finds it a little bit more challenging to speak up during during meetings, we welcome you and invite you to take up a little bit more space and to share your ideas and questions with this group in space. And so, as always, let's seek to do our best to find common good and find opportunities together. And so with that, for the evening, we'll start out with our welcome and introductions. Welcome, you're introduced before we transition into a time of action item, tracker follow-up, air monitoring updates, and then going through the procedure of how to file a complaint, standing updates, and then as per usual, ending the meeting with next steps, agenda setting, and final public comment. So with that, any questions coming up around what any of this means? And thank you so much, Amy, for sharing your screen. Any other questions, anything coming up? I see Nancy has put in the chat the link for action items. Thank you so much, Nancy. All right. So with that, well, tonight, as per usual, our Harder & Company team will be working behind the scenes to take attendance, to offer technical assistance and general support to ensure everyone is able to engage fully in tonight's meeting. Speaking of which, how is my pace kind of for our wonderful interpretation team? Do I need to be slowing down a little bit more, speeding up? Okay, great. See a thumbs up. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks, Amy. I see your thumbs up too. Yeah, if any of you at any point in time are having trouble with Zoom or the translation or have questions about anything else, please feel free to message any one of us and we would be happy to help. So with that, I would love to invite you, Ryan, from the Air District to share any opening remarks you might have to share for us in this time.
Well, thank you very much, Michaela. Really appreciate everybody being here tonight. I know it's a lovely day outside. Hopefully you got to spend some time outdoors. Thank you all for being here. I really want to express our gratitude to Marta, Stella, and Araceli for kind of going through the air monitoring presentation that we're going to be giving today and giving resident member feedback on that presentation as part of our ongoing effort to make these presentations more impactful, more meaningful, and in a manner where it's understandable to everybody. And so I just want to give them a big shout out and a big thanks. And looking forward to the discussions that we're going to have tonight. And yeah, just thanks.
Thanks, Ryan. So with that, we will now transition to our follow-up on action items raised during our last meeting as part of this standing action item tracker agenda piece. So as a reminder, our work together, part of our work together is to increase transparency and accountability. And so this is why we continue to devote this time in this space every meeting, just to make sure we're reviewing the action items together with this community space. So with that, we'd just love to share that we appreciate the Air District's efforts to continually updating this tracker as a way to make sure the voices in this community steering committee space are heard, and that we're able to monitor our progress towards our common goal. And so with that, just a reminder that we'll take some time at the end of the meeting to review the action items that are emerged during this meeting. And we encourage any of you community steering members to add any action items on the list that should be tracked. And so, Nancy, as you provide updates, we invite you in, and team and community steering committee, we invite you to feel free to ask for clarification for any updates Nancy might share. So thank you, Nancy. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. This is Nancy. Just as a routine check-in, I will be going over the action items. I did go ahead and link the action items in the comments. So if you would like to follow along, please go ahead and do so. All right. Can everybody see the screen? Thank you. Okay, so these action items are just a routine check-in, and these will all be from the previous CSC meeting from February. So let's begin with the in progress. So at the last meeting, we did have a request from the CSC for an update with the passenger vehicle replacement measure contract and to work with the CSC to coordinate outreach opportunities. And so the district will continue to provide an update to the CSC on passenger vehicle replace measure and work with CSC on outreach as program becomes available. And so we do have an update later on today regarding this action item. The next action item pertains to Fresno Unified School District. And so there has been a request to get more information regarding the electric bus routes and where they will be operating. And so we continue to work with Fresno Unified and update the CSC as information becomes available. So we are just continuously checking in with them just to see if there's any updates. And of course, we will bring those updates to you as we get them. The next action item is pertaining to the city of Fresno. So we did have a lot of conversation back in February regarding the truck reroute study. And so we do have representatives here from the city of Fresno that will be more than happy to provide an update regarding this truck reroute study and what has been going on in the community. And so we'll go to the completed section. This is also from the previous February CSC meeting. And so we also did have Monica Goetz from Fresno EOC who provided a lot of great information. And so we went ahead and just sent out a standing updates email on March 1st with additional information, with the programs, with links, contact information for Monica. And so if you have not seen the standing updates email, you can also find it on our communications with members page. And that will show all the materials that have gone out to the CSC. Additionally, we also did send out in the sending updates more information regarding school district air filtration measure information. So if you go ahead and click on this link here, and it's also included in the sending updates email, you will be taken to a list of schools who have participated in this program. And you can see which schools have received air filtration and whatnot. We'll go to the comment noted. And so the CSC members may contact Monica at Fresno EOC. We do have and this information is also available in the sending updates email. We have her phone number, her direct email, and she is aware that the CSC may have questions. So please feel free to take advantage of any of these programs, or if you have any further questions or you want more information, please reach out to Monica Goetz. And those were all the action items from last month. We did not have any on the ongoing. So happy to take any questions right now. If anybody has any questions, or you can always just drop questions in the chat as well. So I see no questions right now. But if anything ever does change, like I said, please go ahead and just drop them down in the comments, or you can always email us. So with that being said, I will pass it back to you, Michaela.
I don't think I see any questions or anything in the chat as well. But also we will name that we recognize that people process information at different paces. And so if any questions do arise, just as Nancy just shared, please feel free. The door does not close at this time. So thank you, Nancy. Thank you so much for going over this list with us. And so at this time, we will now transition to our air monitoring update agenda item. And so given the ways that questions and follow-up around air monitoring updates have emerged as a theme in this space, in our community steering committee space, we would love to just take some time specifically to vote into this as an action item. And so we recognize that this is an important conversation, and some of you may have questions as Anthony Espinoza presents this evening. And so with that, our presenter for this evening, Anthony from the Air District, with the Air District, will be intentionally pausing throughout our presentation just to provide the opportunity for any questions that are coming up for any of us. And so in addition, Shay will also be present for any questions that come up, and Nancy will also be navigating us through the community air monitoring page and resources during this time. So we encourage you to use that chat feature to share during those intentional points during the presentation of pause for questions and answers, or for questions and to hear the answers. And from there, would love to transition to our presentation for tonight. So with that, feel free to take it away, Anthony.
Thank you.
And Nancy, are you sharing the screen?
Yes, sorry, I'm getting it ready. One
Just
second.
in case. Thanks.
There we go. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Anthony Espinoza. I am a air quality instrument specialist here at the district, and I service and maintain the air monitoring equipment in the South Central Fresno community. Next slide, please. Today, I will be providing an update on the status of community air monitoring, planning, implementation, review air monitoring data collected, and then take questions, comments, and recommendations. Next slide, please. This is a layout of the air monitoring network for the South Central Fresno community based on your recommendations. This map shows the current locations of the community air monitoring sites. We have 5 particulate matter monitors, 2 multi-pollutant compact systems, and 1 trailer with a comprehensive list of monitors and mobile monitoring van that is also capable of monitoring a variety of pollutants. Also included are 2 regulatory sites, Fresno Foundry and Fresno Drummond, as you can see on this map here. Next slide, please. Here's what some of the instruments look like. The instrument on the left is a standalone particulate matter 2.5 monitor, which is currently located at Roosevelt High School. The second and middle image is a multi-pollutant compact monitor that is located at West Fresno Middle School. And we also have a standalone particulate matter 2.5 monitor. And the last image on the right is our air monitoring trailer at Malaga Elementary. Next slide, please. This is one of our mobile vans. It allows us to quickly get to any location and start monitoring for a variety of pollutants. Next slide, please. We are continuing to monitor the South Central Fresno community and provide weekly updates in both English and Spanish. All the monitors have been installed according to the Community Steering Committee's recommendations. The monitoring van is available for monitoring in areas of interest. Please let us know if there are any locations that you would like us to monitor. We are also continuing to collect and send samples of our air to laboratory for analysis to better understand what particulate matter 2.5 and volatile organic compounds are made of. This is an ongoing effort, and we want to ensure our monitoring network meets your needs. We continue to seek input from the community during these meetings and via phone call or email. This covers what we are currently doing with respect to the air monitoring implementation. Any questions regarding the monitoring network? Okay, next slide, please. Regarding the air monitoring data, this is a summary of what we are seeing. The upcoming slides will show you more details. We've seen an overall decrease in particulate matter 2.5 levels compared to the year 2022, which is great news. Additionally, the data that the PM2 levels at Fresno AB 617 monitoring sites are below current federal standards. Lastly, in fourth quarter of 2023, we saw elevated PM 2.5, which is typically due to stagnant air and wood burning during the winter time. Next slide, please. As mentioned, particulate matter 2.5 is the primary pollutant during winter time. PM 2.5 is a particulate that is less than 2.5 microns. As shown on the image on the right, it is extremely small compared to a strand of hair that is typically 50 to 70 microns. It can be emitted directly, like from smoke and fireplaces. It can also be formed in the atmosphere when certain compounds are present, like NOx from trucks. NOx is nitrogen oxides from trucks. In the wintertime, PM levels are usually worse because of inversion layers or a lid that covers the valley, and I'll explain in the upcoming slides. Next, please. PM 2.5 is a concern because it has serious health risks, including premature death for those with heart or lung disease, aggravated asthma, and many other as listed in the slide. Next slide, please. Earlier, we talked about the inversion layer forms lid to trap pollution. An inversion layer occurs when cold air is trapped near the ground by the layer of warmer air above it. This traps pollutants near the ground, leading to poor air quality. Here's a demonstration video that we found on the internet showing the inversion, what an inversion layer looks like. Do we have any questions so far?
I had a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Yeah, in I think maybe 2 slides ago, you said that we were meeting the current here that PM 2.5 levels were below the current federal annual standard. Are you referring to the 12 microgram standard or the new 9 microgram standard that the federal EPA approved in February?
Hey Genevieve, this is the 12 microgram standard.
Okay.
We know that the 9 has just recently adopted and will be taking effect, I think, in the next few weeks here. But this one is in reference to the current 12 microgram standard.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Any other questions? Oh, okay. Next slide, please. Let's look into this data. This chart is the 2023 annual particulate matter 2.5 average. On the left is the annual average PM 2.5 concentration. The PM 2.5 concentration for each location is represented by the bars. The names are shown below from the bottom, from left to right. The colors represent each year. We also include the regulatory sites for comparison, which are Fresno Foundry, Fresno Garland, and Fresno Pacific University. As shown in the graph, the annual average 2.5 levels are decreasing from year to year at all locations, which is great. We also see for that 2023, all community sites are below the 12 microgram federal annual standard. Next slide, please. In addition to the average annual particulate matter 2.5 concentration level, it's also helpful to look at how many good air quality days we have throughout the entire year. The numbers on the left are a number of days from 0 to 400. Each bar represents the year. Each color tells us about the quality of air for that day. For example, a green day means the air was clean and healthy to breathe. Yellow means it was okay, not the best, but not harmful for most people. Orange days means the air might not be good for everyone, especially if you have asthma or other health concerns. Red and above means it's unhealthy for everyone. In the slide, we have 2 charts. One is from our location at Bitwise and the other at Roosevelt High School. For example, Bitwise in 2023, we had 256 good air quality days represented in green, 99 moderate days, and 7 unhealthy days for sensitive groups. Now look at the air quality from the graphs. We're seeing lots of green days, which is fantastic. In addition, the number of good air quality days represented in green has gone up year over year, and the days when the air wasn't good have gone down. Next slide, please. We see similar results in the majority, good air quality days and improving at Heaton Elementary and Yosemite Middle School. Next slide, please. Also, majority good air quality days are improving at Malaga and West Fresno Middle School. And the next slide, please. And we have similar results at Edison and Madison Elementary. Next slide, please. Now let's take a look at the monthly average of particulate matter for 2023. In this chart, the number on the left-hand side of the monthly average particulate matter 2.5 concentration. We have the months from January to December marked on the bottom. Each line represents the air monitoring location. The dotted lines are from nearby regulatory sites for comparison. This chart shows increased PM 2.5 levels in the fourth quarter, October to December, which is typical for winter months due to various factors, including stagnant air. We will look into these in the upcoming slides. Next slide, please. This slide shows the quality, the quarterly average of each air monitoring location on the map. The purple area is the South Central Fresno AB 617 community. Each circle represents an air monitoring location. The number in each of the circles is the fourth quarter PM 2.5 average. The darker color are the higher emissions. As indicated by the big red arrow, wind typically blows to the southeast. Based on that, the highest quarterly PM 2.5 average is at Edison High School. The lowest quarterly PM 2.5 average was at West Fresno Middle School. The 2023 quarterly PM 2.5 average at all the sites was similar to 2022. Next slide, please. To better understand, let's look at the daily emissions. This chart shows daily average PM 2.5 from October to December for the year 2023. The numbers on the left are the 24-hour PM 2.5 average concentrations. Each line represents specific air monitoring locations. And as in the previous slide, the dotted lines are regulatory sites in comparison to the community sites. Each band of colors in the background represent the air quality level. Green is for good, which is okay for outdoor activity, to red, where everyone should avoid prolonged or vigorous outdoor activities. The gray in this chart represents the highest emissions concentrations of all the community air monitors in 2022. So we can compare the 2023 concentrations with last year's highest. In this chart, we see that Roosevelt High School is trending higher along with Edison High School. overall PM 2.5 trend is increasing into the colder months, impacted by the inversion layer. As discussed earlier, we could see the cold air is being trapped by the warmer air layer above it. In 2023, the peak PM 2.5 levels are lower than in 2022, especially in late November, contributed by less stagnant air. Do we have any questions? Next slide, please. In order to better understand where PM 2.5 emissions are potentially coming from, we currently take samples of air at Edison High School, monitor, and send it to the laboratory for analysis. This analysis breaks the PM 2.5 into different parts, as shown above: ammonium nitrate, ammonium sulfate, organic carbons, and other elements. The two biggest components we typically see are ammonium nitrate and organic carbon. Ammonium nitrate.
Interrupt you. Yeah, so sorry to interrupt you. It looks like we did have a hand that came up around the time of our most recent pause for questions. Yeah, Genevieve, did you have another question?
Yeah, thank you. I was just wondering from the slide before,
Mhm.
does it appear that data from last year would mean that we're out of compliance with this 24-hour 35 microgram standard?
Oops. Yeah, some of these are above the threshold of 35 micrograms.
So yeah, so that's the annual standard, and so I think to Chai's point, what we're showing here is daily levels, and so
Right. The
yeah, okay.
35 is the 24-hour standard.
This is the 24-hour.
Oh, sorry,
So
yes,
yeah,
I'm
so
incorrect.
so some of these are above the thresholds for those specific days. But of course, determining attainment is a different process of looking at 3 years and all these other parameters along with it.
Okay.
But you're correct. On those particular days, they are above the threshold.
Just for the benefit of the committee, I still struggle understanding all these different standards because they've been updated for multiple times and have all these numbers. So just for the committee's sake, this is a standard. It's called 24-hour. But really it's a standard set for how high air pollution can go in a day. And the reason why the federal EPA did this is because if you have really high PM 2.5 in a day, you can trigger like an asthma attack or a heart attack or an other like bad health response. And so that's why we have a standard for pollution in a day. And then we have an annual standard, which is what we were talking about earlier. And that's set because if we average above a certain level over the course of a whole year, that's known to contribute to chronic diseases, the development of chronic diseases like asthma and heart disease. So that's why we have two different types of standards. It's based on the impact on our health. But I just wanted to clarify that because I can easily get caught up in talking about the 24-hour 35 mic standard that was set in XYZ. But thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, let's go back to, let's see. The two biggest components we typically see are ammonium nitrate and organic carbon. Ammonium nitrate is formed in the atmosphere from emissions of nitrogen oxides, which are mostly from mobile sources. PM 2.5 from organic carbon can be formed in various ways. It can be directly emitted from combustion, including cooking, industrial processes, mobile source exhaust, tire wear, and wood burning, or formed in the atmosphere from wood burning, solvent use, and industrial processes. To determine if this is wood burning, we can look at indicators like levoglucosan when we analyze PM 2.5. Next slide, please. Here's a chart showing the breakdown of PM 2.5 at Edison High School from October to December 2023. On the left is the amount or concentration of PM 2.5. Each color represents a type of PM 2.5. Each bar represents one sample of air collected and shows the quantity and type of PM 2.5 in the air sample. This chart shows the two biggest contributions to PM 2.5 are ammonium nitrate and organic carbon. This increase is the most noticeable starting in November. The increase in ammonium nitrate is mostly from mobile sources and is further increased in winter due to stagnant air. We also see higher levels of organic carbon contributed by wood burning. Next slide, please. So how can we tell if PM 2.5 is from wood burning? As shown here, when wood is burned, levoglucosan is emitted along with other compounds like benzene. In contrast, combustion from other sources like gasoline results in no levoglucosan. Because of this, we started also analyzing levoglucosan in the air samples collected at Edison High School. Next slide, please. This chart shows the amount of levoglucosan found in the air samples collected at Edison High in 2023. We started collecting in 2022. On the left is the amount of levoglucosan found. The bar represents each air sample. This chart matches to the earlier chart showing higher levels of organic carbon starting in November. This indicates an increase of wood burning starting in November. This can mean any kind of wood burning, including residential and/or illegal open burning. Next slide, please.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
Thanks, Anthony. You just stated that it could be wood burning from residential or illegal. But where does ag burning fall into that? What are the chemicals emitted? What's the product you get from ag burning compared to wood burning out of a stove? Is that levoglucosan the same, or is it a different type of chemical?
Hey, Ivanka, so this is levoglucosan is pretty much anything that's wood burning. So if it's from ag or any type of wood materials, there would be levoglucosan with it.
And then the next question I have is, I know that we're using the federal regulated monitors in comparison to the 617 monitors, but those are all within the city boundary, but the air district's jurisdiction is the whole county. So how far westbound do we have federal regulated monitors in the county? And the reason I'm asking that is when you go back to the other maps, Edison still is ranking high, so is Roosevelt, but Edison, which is on the most west side of our boundary that we're looking at, but then you also look at the direction of the air that's coming from the east. So I'm trying to correlate, where is this coming from? Why are we having those higher rates at Edison? And while Edison itself is within the boundary of the city, it's also on the outskirt boundary of what's bringing in the ag burning.
Yeah, so actually on our web page, we show all the air monitors within nearby the community. And the farthest west is actually the Edison monitor there. But I think once we start, as we've seen above there, you'll see that the two highest that we see is at Edison and also at Roosevelt. So again, that could be, multiple sources, because I don't think there would be like ag burning at Roosevelt.
No, but you have to, like, we can't just look at this data in separate buckets. It all works together. So that's why I'm asking, what is the most westbound federally regulated air monitor that we're not seeing in this presentation that would give us a clue as to what is being pushed into the city on the west side of Fresno city boundary? Because we are always trying to look at ways to improve and reduce illegal burning, ways to improve cleaner furnace burning. But in comparison to what? Like one of the biggest culprits is still ag burning. I know in my community of West Fresno, you can tell by the smell in the air, you can trace it. Like it's not necessarily your neighbor next door or somebody in the community that's illegally burning, or an old furnace or an old, wood stove. It's so deep into the air, it's being pushed in. So it's just not fair to leave that other big category out. When we're looking at inversion, we're looking at the direction of the wind. It's just leaving another piece of important information out.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point there. As far as to the west, I mean, the only other one is Tranquility, which is quite far away, but the wind direction is going southeast. So from there's Madera Pump, but that's quite some distance. It may require that we look at that direction a little bit further over there and find some way to see the impacts of it.
Yeah,
I
think that's a good opportunity to put the van in a space that data is not being collected, even though it's outside the boundary of 617.
Yeah, and also another thing to keep in mind is that a big portion of it is the organic carbon, which we're correlating with this level of glucosin to indicate wood burning. As those bars are showing, that it's quite a bit of the ammonium nitrate as well too that's contributing to it. So we have to look at multiple sources on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to share. I think Ivanka, I appreciate the points that you're raising, and we have a next step slide, and that's exactly the types of information and suggestions that we're looking for from the steering committee. And so I know Chai and Anthony are taking notes. Just a couple of things I want to make everybody, and you may already be aware of this, but when air quality is expected not to be good, and there's a curtailment called anywhere like in a county, no agricultural burning is ever allowed on those days as well. And so that gets the second point where you were talking about illegal burning. And so that's why it is important that one of the enhanced enforcement measures that the steering committee recommended was to do enhanced enforcement and going out and doing surveillance, in the more rural areas looking for illegal burns. And there's some advanced technologies that we can also use that use to help locate those illegal burns if it identifies them. And so that's definitely something that we are very mindful of, and that we are constantly looking to enforce those requirements.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Let's go to the next slide, and I think this might answer some of the questions we have. To ensure public safety, the district informs the public when there is high pollution or pollution is expected to be high. Schools participate in the Healthy Air Living program. News releases are issued before known and expected high pollution days, as shown in the left pane above. And it is also released in Spanish. The district also posts updates to social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Nextdoor. Next slide, please. These are just examples of the things we have done during these periods of stability to inform the community that we are expecting poor dispersion conditions due to stability. Next slide, please. So we just saw what the district is doing to inform the community about stable conditions and poor dispersion. Here's what we are doing to understand the causes of high particulate matter 2.5 within the South Central Fresno community. In addition to the lab analysis that we've talked about earlier, we also perform surveillance and enforcement where inspectors and air monitoring staff are looking for activity around the area. Next slide, please. In the wintertime, we have enhanced enforcement in the community. There is enhanced enforcement for residential burning, including weekends and holidays. Enhanced enforcement of diesel idling regulations. We conducted 20 hours of surveillance for idling trucks during fourth quarter. Enhanced enforcement of open outdoor burning, during in which the fourth quarter, there were 4 responses to public burning complaints. And we have enhanced inspection frequency of stationary sources where all permitted sources that have an emissions violation in the past 3 years are inspected every 6 months. Next slide, please. Those are snapshots, and this is a more complete look of what happens throughout the entire winter season. There is enforcement and education throughout the community boundary. The district responds to the community complaints and concerns. The district focuses on enforcement efforts when air monitoring shows that air quality is poor. There is increased surveillance on no burn days. And the district continues inspections of stationary sources at regular intervals. Next slide, please. Moving forward, these are the next steps. We will continue to analyze air quality information, including concentration levels, wind direction, and wind speed. We will use this information in our enhanced enforcement efforts to help identify potential sources of emissions contributing to high levels of pollution in certain areas. Ensure enforcement takes place during the time of day where we are generally seeing high levels of emissions. We will continue to conduct nighttime and weekend enforcement, especially when particulate matter 2.5 levels are expected to be higher. We will also continue to take suggestions for additional monitoring uses of our van. And lastly, we will look into expanding particulate matter 2.5 speciation sampling to include Roosevelt High School due to higher levels of PM 2.5 that we are seeing. This will help us better understand potential sources that are contributing to elevated PM 2.5 levels at the site. That concludes my presentation. Next, Nancy will provide a brief overview to find air quality information. Any questions?
Thank you, Anthony. I see that there is a question from Laura in the chat around, is there any ag burning or feather burning at Foster Farms Poultry Farm with that big smokestack west of Edison High? PM 2.5 was high there. What are their emissions?
Yeah, we're not aware of any feather burning or anything like that, so yeah, we can take a look into that.
Thank you, Chai. Also, I so apologize. I misspoke your name earlier on in the meeting. So thank you,
no
Chai,
worries.
for that.
It's a misspelling.
Any other questions? Okay, Nancy?
All right. Thank you, Anthony. This is Nancy again. So I will be walking you all through our community air quality page. So let me stop sharing my screen really quick. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link down in the comments just in case anybody wants to follow along. And then please, if let me know if I need to speed things up or just for the sake of time. I know that we are cutting it close and we still have other announcements and presentations we would like to go through. So I went ahead and just dropped the link down for our community air monitoring page. So that is the page that I will be starting with. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everybody see that? Perfect. Okay, so this is our community air monitoring page. It has all 4 communities listed, and for today, we are going to be focusing on South Central Fresno. So if you go ahead and click here, it will take you to our South Central Fresno community air monitoring page. And up here, you will see all the various locations that were referenced today during the presentation. And then you also have a map here for a better visual aid of all the different locations. You can even zoom in to get a better idea of where the air monitors are. And so you can also click on the sites over here. It will take you to the graphs, which will give you the hourly particulate matter, PM 2.5 concentrations, along with the hour. And then you can also click on this little calendar button right here, and you can see previous data. And then we also do have this historical air quality data monitors that are available. We also do have the air monitor location. Here we go. Can you still see my screen? Perfect, thank you. That was weird. Okay, so moving forward. So as I was saying, the air monitoring location reference map here, which lists which pollutants each site monitors. We have information regarding the mobile air monitoring van data and other special projects. And then if you receive mailing packets from us, you will see these weekly air monitoring updates. And then so you can go ahead and click on it, and it will take you to it will show you the graphs, and these are pretty much the trends for the week for particulate matter PM 2.5. And it will also tell you if the air monitoring sites are working. And then you can also view the archive weeklies. So those are available if you ever just want to reference back and see the various trends. On this page, you will also find the community air monitoring plan, as well as the community air monitoring report. And you will also find all the air monitoring presentations, including this one that will be up here. And so happy to take any questions right now. And if anybody needs additional help or would like more information, as always, please go ahead and give us a call, contact us via email. More than happy to just continue to walking you all through our community air monitoring page. But now is a good time to ask questions, or you can also drop questions down in the chat. So I see no questions right now, but if anybody does have any, like I said, please, you can go ahead and ask us in the chat. I'm available via email, phone call. But if there's no questions right now, I can go ahead and pass it back to you, Bakayla.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And thank you. Thank you for bringing us and showing us about this resource. Thank you, Anthony, for your presentation today. Thank you for supporting with questions, Chai. And I just want to also elevate the question that Ivanka shared in the chat about, can the air monitor presentation be shared out? And Liz's response, just linking to the English version of the presentation for anyone who would be interested in that. And Nancy, I just saw that you also included the link to the community air monitoring page as well. So just wanting to elevate these resources available. Okay, well, with that, I don't see any other questions in the chat, but as always, please feel free to continue to use the chat and raised hand feature as options to share questions that do emerge for any of you. And with that, would love to transition to our next agenda item, which Liz Love will be leading us through today.
Thank you. Happy to transition us along. So we have our how to file a complaint agenda item up next. And this is in response to a lot of questions that have come up from the CSC, specifically about how to file a complaint when you notice potential air pollution violations in your community. So this is a step-by-step tutorial of exactly how to do that. This presentation will be provided by Ana from the Air District, and this will be in Spanish. So just a reminder for our monolingual English speakers out there, if you have not already switched to the interpretation channel, just a reminder to do that. And happy to pass it off. Thank you, Ana.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Anna Stone. I'm the Air District, and I'm going to give the presentation on how we can report a claim directly with the district so our inspectors can give a response as soon as possible. I'm going to share my screen with you now. Just give me 1 second
Sí, puedo hacerla.
to see if I can share it.
¿Pueden ver mi pantalla?
Can you see my screen?
Ok. Voy a cambiar la presentation mode. ¿Pueden ver mi pantalla todavía?
Can you still see my screen?
Sí. Ok, muchas gracias. Ok, so, reportando
Thank you
una
very much.
queja de
So,
contaminación de
reporting
aire en
an
el
air
distrito,
pollution complaint.
como les dije
As I mentioned before, it is very important to report it directly with us so our inspectors can give a response as soon as possible. And these are one of the things that you as residents can report,
como si hay olores
like if there are any
en su
odors
vecindad,
in your neighborhood, you can
hay
report that.
algo ilegal, ya sea en
Any
barriles de
illegal
nieve,
burning, whether if it's burn
cualquier
barrels,
idea que
smoke,
esté dando
any
humo,
burn
mucho
that
humo
you
fuera
are
de
seeing
eso.
that it's
También
getting a lot of smoke, you can
ustedes
report that.
saben que tenemos el programa
You also know that we have the program of reduction of wood smoke every winter. It ended in February, but during those months, if you see a chimney that is having a lot of smoke, you can also report that, and our inspectors can do an investigation of why it's that chimney having a lot of smoke, also dust. Sometimes there are construction sites, they need to have certain methods to reduce dust, but if they are not doing it, you can also report that with us so the inspectors can go and do an investigation. There are many ways to report or to file a complaint with the district. You can submit it online. I'm going to share the website on how to report a complaint online. And also if you have the free app in your phone that is called Valley Air, that's the name of the app. There is a section where you can file a complaint related to air pollution. It's very easy because you can upload pictures if you want to. And we all have our phone with us, so it's easier and it's faster as well. But also you can call to the 1-800-926-5550. You can also report those complaints by phone. The district responds to complaints 365 days a year, and it's very important to let you know that your information will be kept confidential. Sometimes we just ask, like we have the option for you to submit your information, and you have to know that it's confidential. And the only reason why we will ask for your information is for the inspector to be able to inform you of what happened with the complaint that you had filed. What were the findings related to the complaint?
Yeah, so déjeme compartir el sitio web.
Let me share the website with you
Vean cómo se mira ese sitio, pues.
so you can see how it looks like.
Saber cómo llenar ese formulario de
So you know how to fill out that form on how to file a complaint. Just give me a second.
share. Okay. Y aquí sí pueden ver, sí. Okay. So
Can you
este
see
es
it?
el sitio
Yes.
web,
So this is the
donde pueden
website where you
someterse.
can
Aquí a la esquina
file a
pueden cambiar
complaint. If you go to
lenguaje a
this
español
corner, you can
o,
change it to
y
Spanish.
aquí se puede reportar esta queja.
And here you
Y
can
nomás
file a
llenar
complaint.
información. Lo más detalles que
The
nosotros
only
hacemos
information, like
para moverlo mejor para nuestro inspector
as much detail as possible. It's best for our inspector, so they know where it's this source of pollution it's located, so it can be found easily. This information have in consideration that it will be kept confidential, and all of this it's optional. The only reason why we have it, it's for the inspector to be able to communicate with you and let you know what happened. And then the complaint details, like the type of complaint, you can see here that it's dust, sometimes gas stations, trucks, or buses that are owned while parked. Any type of smoke that you may see, you can select it there, description of what you're seeing or what you're smelling, the date, for how long did you observe that. If you have an exact address, that will be very much helpful. Otherwise, you can include the streets that are close by to the site. And if you have pictures to upload, you can also upload pictures here, and they just send the complaint, and our inspectors will receive them, and they can do a complaint investigation. That was my presentation. I'm going to give it back to the facilitator team, and I'm here if you have any questions.
Thank you so much. I see one hand up from Ivanka and then a couple in the chat. So maybe we can start with the hand raised first.
Thanks for the presentation, Anna. I saw in the section where we can upload photos, but can we upload video clips? And I'm saying that as a difference so that it can be time. I mean, I think I think the photos can be time stamped and location stamped as well, but I'm wondering if the videos will help in the suggestion of the complaint, because when I've made complaints, and I don't know if anyone else does, but when I make the complaints, especially about the crematorium, there's a downtown funeral home that keeps burning black smoke. There's no opacity, it's black. But of course, by the time the inspector gets there, it's done, it's over, and you're not actually seeing in real time the violation. And so then so many of the complaints that the community is putting forth are not justified. So how else can we improve the complaint process? Would it make it more possible for you to justify the complaint if you receive video clips instead of just photos?
I'll answer that question, Anna. Yes, the system does allow for videos, and the videos are very helpful. So if you do, take those videos, please do include those. If you have any issues, we have staff that are available that can walk you through, different ways in which to provide those. But yeah, videos are very helpful, and it gives us a better picture in those instances like you were talking about, Ivanka. If that is an issue, there's definitely things that we could do, such as getting out to the facility the following day before they start up, and then having them put materials in, and we can evaluate a situation like that as well. So understanding what that looks like is very helpful.
Yeah, thank you for that question and follow-up. Any follow-up questions from that, Ivanka, before we move to the next question?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so there were a couple questions in the chat, and I think they may have been answered, but I can go ahead and read those out loud. So Lilia was wondering how they can work with the city regarding garbage collection. Since some electronics and car tires and even car oil are being left. And also a comment that Lilia sent in some photos that are very important for soil contamination. And then a response from Greg. Thank you so much for replying in the chat. For the garbage collection question you had, you can always call 311, which is the City of Fresno call center, to report any of those concerns and get those follow-up services. Yeah, thank you for those questions, and hopefully that was a helpful answer. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. Are there any other questions or comments coming up for folks that they want to share right now? I'm not seeing any. But again, the door is always open if you forget how to file a complaint. The Air District is really great about being available to the community. So always feel free to reach out with any questions. So again, if I'm not seeing any coming up, I think we can keep moving through our agenda. So next up, we have our standing updates agenda item. So we carve out time at the end of every meeting to listen and hear directly from our agency and community partners who are working on various initiatives that impact the Fresno community. So as you listen to each update, feel free to think of any questions or comments, and we will take those at the end of each update. So we have a couple from the Air District, and I think one from CARB, and then also one from the City of Fresno. So we can start first with the Air District updates. I think we have an outreach update again from Anna.
Otra vez yo voy a hacer la presentación para el
Again, I'm
alcance.
going to do the presentation for the outreach.
Compartir otra vez mi pantalla.
I'm going to share my screen again.
Nada más estábamos, queremos compartir el
We
alcance
wanted
que
to
hemos tenido en
share
la
with
comunidad
you
de
the
Centro Sur Fresno.
how we have reached the
Estuvimos
community in
en,
the Central South
en
Fresno.
la Feria de Salud de Cedar Courts el
We were
22
in
de
the Cedar
febrero, dando
Court health
purificadores
fair
de
on
aire
February
a los
22nd,
residentes que
giving
calificaban.
out
El 10 de
air
marzo
purifiers
estuvimos
if
en
the
el
residents will
Carnaval de Primavera
qualify.
de la Escuela
March
Mexicano,
15, we were at the Spring Carnival at a
distribuyendo
school.
información y
We were
purificadores.
receiving information
Luego el
or
18 de
modifying
marzo
any, but to avoid risk. On March 18, we were here
también
in
distribuyendo
the
más
high school,
purificadores y también
distributing more
información de todos
purifiers
los
and also information about all of our systems,
información de calidad del aire,
information on
herramientas
air
para los
quality,
residentes y
the tools, the residents,
los libros de actividades para los niños.
the activities books for
Estas son las
children.
fotos. Y luego los próximos eventos que
And
vamos
then
a
the
tener
next
el
events
21 de
that we're going to
marzo
have
es
on
Noche
March
de Literatura en
21st,
Málaga Elementary. Mañana vamos a estar
we
ahí
have
con
Literacy
información,
Night at Malaga
dando
Elementary.
información. El
We will
24
be
de
giving
marzo
information. March 24,
no pudimos ir
we
nosotros, pero
couldn't
sí
go
nos
ourselves,
comunicamos con
but we got
Lilia, con
in
Familias en
touch with
Acción,
Lilia and
para
Familias en
darle
Acción,
información que ella puede
so
también
they
distribuir
could
en ese
get
evento.
all the information and distribute
Gracias,
it
Lilia.
the
Y luego
team. Thank you very
también
much
el
for that,
5 de abril
Lydia.
vamos a estar
On
en el
April
carnaval
5th, we're going to
Mar
be in
en
the
King
Under the
Elementary.
Sea Carnival at King Elementary.
Y eso es todo por ahorita.
That's everything for
¿Alguna
now.
pregunta?
Do you have any questions?
Ok, gracias.
you so much. And really exciting to hear about all these upcoming events. I do see a hand up from Lilia. Please go ahead.
Sí, Ana, muchas gracias, Ana.
Yes,
por
Anna, thank you very much.
aclarar.
Thank you for clarifying.
Les invitamos a
We want to invite
información
you,
perdón, pasó una
everyone. There are two motorcycles passing by. If you want to have information, we like to provide also information on the food baskets that we're giving out every Friday. They're distributing between 80 to 120. So it has the information that you provide us. So I hope that it's working so we can promote the services that you're providing, and from those services, like some agencies that are within our group.
Thank you so much for sharing, Lilia. Any other questions or comments about these outreach and events that were just shared? Not seeing any. So I think we can move to our next update, which is also from the Air District. I think I'm passing it to Ryan for an update on the passenger vehicle repair and replace program.
Thanks, Liz. I'm excited to announce that CARB has approved both the vehicle repair and the vehicle replacement incentive project plans, which we've come here and talked a lot about as being kind of that step that needs to be completed in order to be able to move forward with these measures. And so really excited that that has been done. We had a conversation a few months back with the organization Valley Can that does these events, and talked about the community events where they actually have workshops, and they go to what are typically restaurants and set up and invite people to come that are interested in looking to replace their existing vehicle with a cleaner vehicle. And so just wanted to share real quick with you. Get to test my skills on Zoom. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. Excellent. And so this is kind of what these events look like. I know it's hard, we talked about it verbally, but wanted to kind of show you what some images of what actual events that have been held in the Valley look like. And so they're typically done in restaurant settings, and that's because Valley Can provides food and refreshments to the people that come and participate. They do need a little bit of room for these because they bring computers so that they can provide real life examples of vehicles and more descriptions about the program, more information about the program. They really work with people all the way from the very beginning all the way to the very end. So the picture on the left is someone that has gone through the program and was able to replace their vehicle with a new one, which we want to see a lot of in South Central Fresno. And so when we got together last time, we talked about locations. And so really want to share, I know Kimberly McCoy provided a lot of suggestions about locations. We did share this with Valley Can, but also wanted to just talk with the community about if they know of like restaurants that may also work, because they do want to bring that element of providing food and refreshment to the people that attend. And so if you have any suggestions, feel free to share them tonight. Also, you can reach out to any of our team and let them know about locations. And it's definitely something that we're looking to get suggestions in the different parts of the community. We've heard that we definitely want to have stuff on the west side and the near Calwa, Malaga, and these different areas. And we want to touch as many areas of the community as possible. So if you do have any additional suggestions that we could provide to Valley Can, we'd greatly appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan, for the update. I see one question in the chat, and I'm not sure if this was for this update or the previous one, but when is the next event coming up?
So that's what I should have brought that up too, and I apologize. So that is also something that we're going to be working with the steering committee to bring updates on locations of events and working with you on getting recommendations on in-person events as well, both for vehicle repair as well as the vehicle replacement workshops. And so this is just kind of an initial outreach to the CSCs to think about where some of these things may be. And then once we share that information, ValleyCan would then look to try to schedule some of these. If there's dates, times that that work better for people, feel free to share that information as well. The more information that you can provide to us to make these successful, we appreciate. I think the things I've been seeing, ValleyCan's very active in sharing information on various social media, but they typically get between 30 and 40 interested people to these events. And so, I think with all of your efforts, we can see that, if not more. That's for the vehicle replacement, not the, I'm sorry, the in-person vehicle repair. We definitely get a lot more than 30. Those are typically in the 300 to 400, 500 people to those events.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. And so just to repeat what I'm hearing, at this point, the Air District is really looking for recommendations and suggestions from the CSC about locations that ValleyCan can host this event, as well as dates, and also any outreach suggestions for how to reach the most people. I think any ideas that folks have, either share them in the chat, or we even have a few minutes, I think, right now, if folks want to share. But again, feel free to send those in the email to the Air District after the meeting. But I'll pause here to see if there are any questions coming up for Ryan about this update, or if anyone has any recommendations that they would like to share with them. Not seeing any. So I think we can move to our next update. And yes, thank you so much, Lilia and Familia Senacion, for all of the work that you do for the community. And so our next update, would love to invite our CARB representatives to see if there are any updates that you would like to share with the CSC at this time.
Brian had to step away, so I don't think that there's any updates, but I see Eric just came on. I don't have any updates from the monitoring section.
Yeah. Hi, this is Eric Bissinger. I'm with the CARB's Enforcement Division, and we're going to be doing some enforcement activities in the next quarter in the Fresno boundary. So I'm kind of asking, kind of like what Ryan was asking for, so some locations where that you can help us find some places where we can do some roadside inspections of heavy duty diesel trucks, and like areas where there's lots of truck traffic that you're concerned about. And also we need space, for the equipment and for safety reasons. What we do is we work with CHP, and we go on the side of the road, and we have a system that will read emissions, and if there's a high emitter, we'll pull them over, and we'll have the CHP pull them over, and then we'll work with them on the side of the road and inspect the vehicle and give citations if needed. So we're looking for some locations. We've been doing like the East Central and Golden State, looks like the location where we were at last. So, and that's a good spot. It has lots of traffic and lots of space for us. But so just asking if you know of any other places. And you can email Brian or I or anybody on the team, and they'll get it to me. So, and I'm willing to take any questions on that too. So. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Eric.
Yeah, I could put my contact information in the chat.
You read my mind. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Eric, for the update and for putting your email and contact info in the chat. We can note that down as an action item as well. So the CSC is reminded to share any ideas. And I actually do see a hand up from Lilia.
Sí, para ustedes.
Yes. For you, Ana and Marisela, I don't know if you have this contact that we will have this event in Calawa Park this March 23rd. We will have this Easter event. So I don't know if you have that information so we can share that information.
Déjeme ver si vamos a
Let
estar.
me see if we will be in that event. Because we got invited, but sadly we have that date already busy and we're not able to attend. Yeah, we have a lot. March and April are the ones that are where we have many events. And you said it was the 23rd here in Calawood Park. That's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I have the info here. I can share it to you and you can get in contact with them. Yeah, you can send it to us and we'll contact them if we have any representatives that can attend. Thank you, Lilia. Of course.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions or comments about any of the updates that were shared so far before we hear our last one? Okay, happy to transition to, I think, our final update, which is from the city of Fresno. And I believe Greg is here to share an update with us.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all and hear your voices. Just quickly, the consultants continue to do their work in the background, but the city has, after hearing concerns and questions and comments from the community in reviewing the draft health impact assessment, has decided to pause the project to do a little bit of self-review, including reviewing the implementation strategies report before it's released to the public, and trying to work with the consultant to figure out a way to do some additional outreach. That's probably the key, both in person and virtually. And so we've kind of postponed the dates, the final TSC meeting, the final CAG meeting, and then the public review. They expect to pick this work up sometime in the very near future, and then to go to the Planning Commission and City Council in the summer. July-ish is the time frame that they're shooting for at this point. So, and thank you there, Ryan, for the verbiage. Yes, the technical committee and then the community advisory committee. So, and that's about it from the city of Fresno on the truck rerouting study.
Thank you so much, Greg. And I'll pause for a moment to see if there are any questions or comments from the CSC. I know this has been one of the big priorities and a topic that has come up a lot in these meetings. So I want to make sure any questions or comments that folks have, yeah, please feel free to share them now. I'm not seeing anything in the chat and I don't see any hands raised. So I think we can close out. Oh, I do see a hand up. I like to give a little bit of time. So yeah, Natalie, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry for the late raising of hand. I just wanted to ask, like, because it sounds like this project is being extended like for a longer period of time, does that mean there will be more like CAG meetings and TSC meetings, or will it just be like this long period of time and then the final CAG meeting?
Yeah, so what I understand is they're trying to figure out between the TSC and the CAG meeting how to do just a little bit more of a community outreach piece of it, and then come to those two bodies with the final product. And so that's kind of the holdup right now that they're working with the consultant on.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Natalie, for the question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. And I'm a slow thinker, so sometimes it takes me a while too. Anything else coming up for folks? We are a little ahead of schedule, surprisingly, so I think we can take another few moments in case anything else is coming up about any of the updates that were shared. Okay, I'm still not seeing any. So I think we can move on to our next steps and agenda setting. So as we mentioned, I believe last month, we have not been scheduling agenda setting meetings as we used to. That was primarily because of the low attendance. I think it was very rare for us to have residents in attendance, and typically only one CSC member would join, which we always loved having that space. But we want to make sure that everybody has a say and can contribute in developing this next agenda. So we do have some time right now at the end of this meeting to see if we can get maybe some consensus from the CSC on the next proposed topic. So that next meeting will be April 10th at our usual 5:30 on Zoom. And the Air District has proposed a CERT budget discussion. And again, that has been in response to questions that have come up from the CSC specifically around this budget topic. And so I'll take a moment to pause and see if there are any objections to that proposed topic. And also if there are any specific suggestions, even within that topic that you want to make sure we discuss, or if there's anything else you want to make sure we get either on our list for a future meeting or even potentially can include in this one. In April, we do encourage you to share any ideas that you have. So again, I'll just pause to see any objections to that CERT budget discussion. Not seeing any. So I think we can go ahead and the Air District can start drafting the agenda with that as the main topic. But again, I'll just pause for another moment to see if there's any other specifics that you want to make sure is included or any other suggestions that you have for a future agenda topic. And if not, this is not the only opportunity you have to share any thoughts. You can always email the Air District. The draft agenda always goes out at least a week ahead of the CSC meeting, and everyone is invited to share feedback at that point as well. And I believe we also wanted to bring up some ideas for the May CSC meeting. And I am wondering, Ryan, if I can pass it to you to share some of what is being thought about.
We were, we definitely value being able to get together in person. And so We were hoping to do our next in-person meeting in May. And based on some of the feedback that we've gotten from CSC members and trying to host them in the different parts of the community, we were looking at locations in West Fresno. And so just wanted to hear from all of you if you have any thoughts or suggestions about that idea.
Thank you, Ryan. And yeah, so the idea is to have an in-person meeting in May. And I believe we do this at least once a year with all of the 4 CSCs within the San Joaquin Valley. Our last one, I think, was in June. I can't believe it's already been almost a year. It's definitely a different experience, and I think really valuable to get to engage together in person. If there are any ideas, would love to. Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Hey, this is Eric. I would recommend maybe West Fresno Elementary School in their cafeteria.
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion. So the West Fresno Elementary School, I believe, possibly in the cafeteria. Yeah, any other recommendations for locations?
Si estamos hablando del sureste de Fresno, también
If you are talking about the Western Fresno, Sequoia Middle School, the administration is very accessible, so I don't know if they would like the participation from this area.
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion. And we're noting these down. Anything else coming up, or is anyone opposed to having the meeting in person? Any concerns about the date? Again, we have a couple months, so there will be more time, but just want to see any other thoughts about either ideas for the location or anything you would hope to see at that in-person meeting. Okay. Not seeing any. So I think we can.
Yeah, I had a question. I know you asked us what we wanted to see, but what do you plan on doing at that particular meeting since it's our annual that would be significant?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. There's quite a few measures that that we want to discuss. I think at that time, that may be a good time to really focus in on the implementation of both the vehicle replacement and the vehicle repair, and hopefully try to get firm recommendations from the steering committee to provide direction to Valley CAN. That may be one of the recommended topics. And we can definitely bring back some additional ones next month as well to discuss and propose.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Eric, for the great question. Anything else coming up before we continue to wrap up? Okay. Again, I like to give a little bit of time for our maybe slower processors like myself. Yeah, but we can continue along, and I believe at this time we will share the few action items that we have from tonight's meeting. So let me share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see the action item tracker? Think so?
Yes, we can, Liz.
Okay. And so one of them is still getting translated, but we can start at the first. The Air District will look into emissions concerns that were raised at tonight's meeting regarding the Foster Farms poultry farm that is west of Edison High School. The Air District will also consider placing the mobile air monitoring van on the other side of the western boundary of the AB 617 community. And that is also near Edison High. And then the last one, the CSC is encouraged to email CARB with any suggestions for locations for those roadside vehicle inspections. And I do see a hand up from Genevieve. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if Ivanka is still on the line and if what she had brought up about emissions outside the area could be turned into an action item. I don't know if she's still here. But the other one I wanted to add was that I know we have this mobile van that kind of drives around the neighborhoods. And maybe I missed this, but I don't really recall a visualization or analysis of what that mobile van is finding, like spatially and temporally throughout the neighborhoods. So for the next monitoring meeting, could we get more information about that data and not just the stationary monitors?
So Genevieve, on that topic, the mobile van that we have, it's mobile in the sense that the equipment, it's not one of the ones where you can drive around and take readings while it was driving. What we would use it for was to station it in a fixed location and take measurements.
Got it. Didn't we develop like a driving plan for a van? Because I know there is a mobile unit that's more like a trailer that's parked. But then didn't we also originally create tracks for a actual van to drive?
Yeah, so we have the actual van. I don't know if Chai is still on here, because he could speak to it better. I know we were testing out some equipment that would allow us to do things like that, but we don't currently have it.
You don't currently have the van anymore?
No. We have the van. We just don't have the monitoring equipment to do that.
Oh,
It's a special type of monitor that you need to have for that. And so we were looking at those, and I don't believe Chai is here. But we could definitely give an update and more information at the next meeting about that.
okay. Thank you. And then Ivanka, did you want to add anything?
No, I think it's kind of accurate, just trying to get a better sense of data from the west side that's being pulled into the boundary. And so that was my thought, was could we use the van for that, since the regulated monitors may be too far out.
Yeah, and that was one of the action items I believe Liz had talked about. And so we definitely wrote that down, and we will look to do that next year.
Yeah, thank you. And apologies if the action item wasn't too clear. But we do have the Air District will consider placing the mobile air monitoring van on the outer side of the western boundary. And I believe that was near Edison High, but if that was captured incorrectly, please do let us know. And I can update that right now. Any other questions or anything you would like us to add or modify on the action items from tonight? Okay. I am not seeing any. And it looks like we are a little ahead of schedule, so don't want to keep anyone here any longer than we need to. I know it has been a long day for many, so just want to wish you all a good evening. And thank you so much for being here. And Ryan, if there are any closing remarks that you would like to share, yeah, I'd love to invite you to share any.
No, other than just want to thank Harder and the team. I think you did another fantastic job in the meeting tonight. I want to thank all the CSC members who were here and participated and provided a lot of great feedback to us. Very important, and we're very appreciative. And I also want to recognize he's not here anymore, but it was Anthony's first time ever giving a presentation, and I know that's often times is very challenging, and I thought he did a great job, and appreciate him stepping up and doing that. And to the rest of the district team, thanks as well. As well as the city and everybody else who gave updates.
Well said, Ryan. Thank you so much, everyone who contributed to tonight's meeting and everyone who engaged. Yeah, just wishing you all a really good evening, and we will follow up in the email. All right, have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Gracias, buenas noches. Se despide Roberta y
Have a
Hola,
good
buenas.
night. This is Roberta.
Good
Have a
night.
good night. This is Efraín Meneses. Good night. Have a good night.